clickme.exe. I'm one of those type of people that you call introverts. So I spend all day isolated in my bedroom, laying on the bed just thinking about my future. You could say I was depressed, since I am very lonely, and you'd be right. Every day I would wake up in the afternoon and spend the afternoon just fiddling around on my computer. At night I would stay up to around 1 a.m. looking at my phone in bed. It was peaceful, you could say. By the time I go to sleep, I take hours to finally doze off since I have insomnia. This was the life that I lived, a peaceful yet unhealthy life. This one night I was on my computer doing casual stuff like watching YouTube or playing video games. After a few hours, I got pretty bored. That's when I remembered about the deep web, a certain part of the internet which has illegal contents, videos, photos, etc. It was at the bottom of the internet's iceberg. Since I was bored, I decided to hop on the deep web and check it out for the first time. After minutes of digging myself into the deep web, I was finally at the lowest point of it. I could see people being sold online, drugs, organs for sale, etc. It was disturbing to say none the less. After a while of clicking on countless links and stuff, I found a link that said clickme.exe. I'm very gullible, so I clicked on the link. It sent me to a video chat stream. There were about a couple of hundred people watching the live stream. The video showed a dark room which looked like a basement. It was unnerving. I couldn't take my eyes off of it, so I kept watching the video. Then after a few minutes, someone turned the camera sideways and my heart dropped. The camera showed a girl who looked to be in her 20s. She was tied up to a chair with ropes all over her body, and I could hear her screams being muffled by duct tape over her mouth. My chest tightened. The whole chat box was rushing with messages. Everyone was saying "killer" in the chat. My heart started pounding. This was a murder stream. Then, the person behind the camera stepped out into the shot. He wore a black hoodie with a ski mask which kept him anonymous. The man then gestured a thumbs up and reached into his pocket and took out a large switchblade. My eyes widened as the man held the blade up against the girl's neck. I knew what was going to happen since the chat was spamming "kill her" and slit her throat. The man in one swift motion slit the woman's throat as blood gushed out. I was hyperventilating in fear. The video then started glitching and buffering until it finally stopped. I immediately closed the tab and exited the web browser. My hands were shaking in fear. I was heavily disturbed by what I saw. The following night, I tried to doze off, but I couldn't. My mind was replaying the same images of that woman's throat getting slit. You'd think this is where the story ends, but you'd be wrong. I just left my house to get groceries since I was running out of food in the fridge. While I was strolling with my shopping cart in the cereal aisle, I remember getting hit in the head with a hard object. My vision slowly started blacking out until I passed out. I woke up in a basement with water dripping on my head. I gazed around to see countless dead, lifeless bodies on the floor in their pools of blood. Their bodies were mutated and their bones were broken and dislocated. My heart sank into my stomach. There were also dozens of weapons hung on the walls with large nails. The weapons were also covered in blood. I tried to scream and move, but I couldn't since I was tied to a chair with ropes and my mouth was covered in duct tape. I tried to frantically escape by knocking down the chair, but to no avail. Then I saw the basement door open and saw the silhouette of a man walking down the stairs. My heart started racing in fear. The man walked to me and took out his phone and placed it on the table in front of me. That's when I realized what was about to happen. Man then started to start a live stream on his phone, and I could see countless people joining. I was about to get killed on stream just like how that woman did on the deep web. Tears started pouring down my cheeks. The man wore the same clothes as he did in the live stream of the woman's death. The man then spoke to the viewers on the live stream. "How should I kill him?" he said with a deep and cracky voice. After a few seconds, the man said, "Torture him? Pretty good choice, but first I will cause him pain." The man then started walking towards the large sledgehammer that was hung up on the wall. He took it and walked back to me. I knew he was going to hit me with it, so I braced for impact. The man swung the sledgehammer to my stomach with brute force. It was so painful. I could barely breathe after he'd done that. He then kept hitting me with the sledgehammer repeatedly until I was knocked out. I recall waking up in what looked like a cell that had no windows and only one eerie yellow light on the ceiling. I woke up groaning in pain from the bruises and cuts from the sledgehammer. I was wearing what looked like hospital patient clothes that reeked of the smell of blood. The clothes were old and were stained. I then heard footsteps coming towards me. It was that man again. "Let me the hell out," I screamed at him. He stayed silent. The man kept staring at me. Then he took off his hood and ski mask and I could finally see his face. He looked like he was in his mid-20s. He was bald and had cuts and bruises on his face. He even had an unsettling grin that spread from cheek to cheek. It sent shivers down my spine. "Listen, Daniel, I ain't gonna let you out anytime soon," he said. My heart skipped a beat. How did this guy know my name, I thought. "How the hell do you know my name?" I said as I stammered on my words in shock. "Well, as they say, a magician never tells his secrets," and he let out a crackle. "Who the hell are you?" I said, grasping onto the steel bars. "I'm Devin. Nice to meet you." "Get me out of here, you freak." "Daniel, the more you speak to me with that attitude, the more I'm gonna have to hurt you. You're a sicko." "Well, here's your dinner," Devin said, as I saw he was holding a plate. He crouched down and slid the plate under the bars into my cell. There was a dead rat with its head decapitated on the plate. Blood everywhere on the plate. I gagged at the sight. "Eat up," Devin said. I covered my mouth to prevent myself from vomiting. "Or I'm gonna have to shove it down your throat," Devin said. He opened the cell and walked in. Devin took the rat's head and threatened to shove it down my throat. I backed up to the back of the cell. "Hold still," Devin said. He then caught a grab of my throat and was choking me. He then shoved the rat into my mouth and I felt the organs and the hairs of the rat get caught in my throat. I gagged and vomited all over Devin. "You prick," Devin said. He let go of my neck and punched me in the face. I almost got knocked out. "Breakfast is tomorrow, Daniel." Devin walked out of the cell with the plate in his hand. I fell to the floor in pain and had blood trickling down my nose. From that day on, I was being fed live animals, dead animals, bugs, fish, etc. I was also tortured every day in different ways, from sledgehammers to chainsaws to my arms. It felt like hell every day. Then after what seemed like years and years of torture, a miracle happened. The cops showed up. Devin was arrested. He was already on the wanted list for the past 6 years. I was gone missing for only 2 months, which had felt like years. I was immediately escorted to a hospital since half my joints were gone or broken. I'm 35 now and I have a child. This experience has traumatized me to the core, and every time I see an animal, I will always remember being fed raw animal. It's been 10 years and I still remember to this day. I've been taking medication and therapy to forget about this, but I don't really think it's working. And needless to say, I will never, ever go on the deep web again.